Water is important to everybody. We've come to respect that it's not a luxury and we can't take it for granted because one day it's there, one day it's not.
Water is a very essential part of life.
One of the main purposes of the Forest Service is to provide clean water.
Native Americans feel that man has a role in nature, that humans should be taking care of the landscape. This is exactly the same mission as the National Forest Service.
We all need to continue to respect, restore, manage, and be the stewards of our natural resources.
1, 2, 3, up!
I believe that we do have shared goals. There's no end to the opportunity that we have to work closely with tribes in achieving goals that we share.
Wanted to start out today.
The project we're working on now is actually the idea of one of the Hopi elders that we've worked with for a long time. We visited some springs that were heavily impacted and in need of restoration. He made the statement, we need to be working on these together and we need to get the young people involved. We need to have elders and young people and Forest Service staff out here on the ground doing this work together, learning from each other, and that was really the catalyst for this project.
I've had a lot of different activities. Each year I try to get creative and do something. We've never attempted anything off reservation. This is the first time we've attempted an off reservation activity. Our Cultural Resource Advisory Team, our Hopi elders, wanted the youth to do something in this setting to promote the importance of water. We incorporated the educational aspect to promote higher learning and education to get to employment opportunities within the Department of Natural Resources, Forest Service.
It tests for the temperature. We were asked to come up here to interact with the youth, to get them interested in protecting their own resources. This one? And to teach them what we do so possibly they would move into our career path.
You know, it's really an exciting time to be able to work with youth of the tribes. We work with youth in many different arenas here across the forest, and we're always interested in educating youth around the work we do, the management of the National Forest. It's even more exciting, though, because we have tribal youth here who are really, in some cases, just learning about some of these resources.
This site receives direct sunlight. In this process, we're looking at 2 springs, and those 2 springs have very different management needs. One is a hanging garden hill slope spring, very steep slope. There's no trail to the source, and the water is captured up at the source. So in order to prevent erosion of the hill slope, we need a trail up there. At Castle Spring, it's kind of a complex landscape. It's a rock shelter spring, a wet meadow that's been very much altered for livestock purposes. The idea of balancing both the ecological integrity with the goods and services like providing water for wildlife and livestock can be combined here, but it's going to take a little bit of work to remove the old fencing, to reconfigure the flow of water.
With the spring work that we have been doing here, we were actually removing invasive plants that have come in, forcing out some of the native plants, especially some of the ones that would have been used by native cultures.
I am having tons of fun restoring the spring. We had to clean around, take out certain type of plants that don't belong here. It's fun, it's a good experience, and you get muscles.
We chose Castle Springs because it does have a lot of water flow to it, and it does have a good overhang where it will be protected from the elements. We're using our traditional Hopi methods of how we maintain our springs. We noticed that the area was covered with graffiti. Once we cleaned off the graffiti, we began to see some of the petroglyphs in the wall. That tells us as Hopi what clans migrated through the area.
Working with friends, learning new things, knowing that our ancestors have been here.
Our children, we have the youngest at 16 years old up to 18 years of age, and there's 17 students. They're thankful for being here. They just couldn't wait to get up the next day to go see where they're going to go and where they're going to end up at. And we've had a lot of hard workers. Yesterday, they really showed us a lot of interest in what they were doing, and we even tried to stop them from working, and they're like, no, we got to do this. And so we just, okay, go for it, go do it. And then taking out the fence poles, they really had a good workout, but they enjoyed it. They were laughing and joking around.
We're making steps. Before, this area was just nothing but a slope, like it was just sliding. So we're trying to stabilize it. I've always known that your land is sacred. It's just important to keep the ecosystem and nature as it should be.
The spiritual value to the springs are actually worth a lot. I wish there's other springs we can actually fix doing the work. It's fun, tiring, but it's all worth it. I may be a youth, but somewhere along the line, 30 years, maybe 40 years, my kids can come back, I can tell them, yeah, I did this.
Well, I'm very honored to be here, bringing this back to life. Springs like these are very important.
This is the kind of work that we should be doing everywhere, because this is our mission with the Forest Service, to work together to manage this wonderful landscape.
Forest Service folks, Hopi tribal members, specialists.
The cooperation between the Forest Service and the Hopi Tribe and the natives, for that matter, any indigenous group, is very important. What I saw yesterday, the crew had done a great job. Hey, we're now getting back to giving this living spring a facelift. It deserves the work that the crew has done.
It was a lot of work putting this together. I feel good about how everything has turned out. I see it as already being a huge success.
I don't know if I can accurately express how pleased I am with the way this project is going. We've got a lot of different partners that have shown up to all contribute. We've got a lot of different moving parts and a pretty ambitious objective as far as what we want to accomplish out here. It's just going along great. Seeing the elders and the youth all working together, it's really satisfying. My hope is that next year or 2 years from now, we'll be implementing another project that is born out of this project now.
Excellent. There you go.
Before we did this spring restoration project, this area was accessible to domestic livestock, and they were drinking right from the spring source, trampling what vegetation there was, so it was in a state of disrepair. What we did was we created a pool that now impounds more water than we originally had on site. We installed a livestock exclosure fence so that now domestic livestock cannot enter the spring source area, and we removed invasive weeds. It's been about a year since we completed this spring restoration project. So now we're at the monitoring and stewardship phase. Basically, we're monitoring water quality. We're making sure that the impoundment continues to hold water. We continue to address the invasive species issues, as well as maintaining and inspecting the livestock exclosure fence. I'm very enthusiastic about continuing to do spring restoration on the Kaibab National Forest and to continue to work with the Hopi. Their knowledge has been a big benefit to us in completing this project, and I think it's important as we move forward to continue to work towards restoring these cultural landscapes.
What I think this project has shown is we need to do more projects like this one, because it allows us to share information with the Forest Service. And it allows us to also restore our ancestral lands. But most importantly, it allows our Hopi elders to teach the youth, because if we can reach one youth, we have done our job.
Honey, oh, honey, oh, honey, oh, honey, oh.
Hey,